Welcome back to Cursive Crash Course Online with me, Ms. Kelly, brought to you by the Keller Public Library. This is lesson 4, our last lesson. So if you haven't completed lesson 1, 2, and 3, please go back and do those first. Before we start lesson 4, I want to take a minute to really celebrate our success and to think about all of the things that we've learned so far in the course. Let's see, we started by talking about how cursive is different from print, why we should learn cursive. Then we learned the uppercase and lowercase formations for all 26 letters of the alphabet. Wow! Then we practiced making those letters and putting them together to form words. Then we looked at our cursive as a whole. How do we make it the best that we can? What do we need to improve in our cursive writing? So that's a lot, and you've done a great job, and I'm really proud of you. So in lesson 4, we're going to just take some time to celebrate all that success, to show off our new cursive skills with a few workbook pages. And then if you'd like to stick around for the calligraphy bonus lesson, I'll show you what calligraphy is and help you get started learning that too if you're into it. For the lesson, you will of course need your lesson 4 bag. It has a little bit of writing paper. It has a calligraphy handout. And it also has a special chisel tip marker that I'll be showing you how you can use it to make calligraphy on your papers. And of course you'll need your workbook. We are going to finish your workbook today. You guys have done an amazing job and you have finished this whole thing. It's pretty long. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to bring the camera in closer and I'll show you how to finish out your cursive workbook this week. Section 3 of the workbook, your last section to complete, is tracing and writing jokes. So that should be a lot of fun. And this is just a chance for you to really show off your new skills and maybe learn a couple of funny jokes to tell your friends or parents later. You'll begin by tracing the punchline to the joke in the first few pages, and then you'll get a little bit of practice toward the end writing out the entire joke and the punchline in cursive all on your own. And are you ready? I think you're ready for this. You've worked really hard. So celebrate your success by writing out some funny jokes. At the very end of your cursive workbook, when you're finished with your last joke, you're going to find this certificate of completion. And this will be a chance for you to practice your very best handwriting on your name and maybe put the date at the bottom. And you could put this up on your fridge at home or in your bedroom to let everybody know that you are a cursive crash course graduate. I'm proud of you. That's it for the workbook. You are all done. Great job, everybody. Now, if you would like to learn some calligraphy, stick around. If you are not interested in learning calligraphy, fast forward a bit, but I do want you to watch the end because there's something that we need to do before we say goodbye to each other in our cursive crash course. So now we're going to start with calligraphy. What is calligraphy? Calligraphy is a little bit like print and a little bit like cursive. So you can see that calligraphy has some of the elements of cursive. It has some curved lines and some twisty, turny letters. It's slanted a little bit, also like cursive, but not quite as much. But it's also a little bit like print in that all of the letters are not necessarily connected, and we will probably be picking up our pen a little bit more than normal. Now the calligraphy that I'm going to teach you today is just a really very basic way to get started. It's sort of what some people call cheat calligraphy. We're not going to use a traditional fountain pen with a calligraphic nib on it. We're going to use this thing, this chisel tip marker. So if you open up your marker, you can see that it isn't pointed like a regular pen or pencil would be. It is the shape of a chisel, so it's flat on the sides. And that shape on this marker is what's going to give us the interesting differences in thickness and thinness that is kind of peculiar to calligraphy in the lines. If cursive is special fancy writing, calligraphy is like extra special, extra fancy writing. Before we had things like printing presses, typewriters, computers, software programs, and even smartphones, everything that we wrote had to be written by hand. So people oftentimes took a great amount of pride in their handwriting and they practiced it, and some people even had the job of being scribes or writers, and they would write down everything for us, and a lot of times they used calligraphy. So if you want to learn some calligraphy, we're going to move closer to the page now, and I'm going to talk about how to form the letters. The most important thing in calligraphy is you need to keep your pen angled at 45 degrees to the paper. Remember, up and down is 90 degrees, and 45 is just halfway of that. So I'm going to pull the camera in closer to look at the page, and we're going to learn some calligraphy. Here we go. To learn calligraphy and practice forming calligraphy strokes, you'll need to use the chisel tip marker that is included in your Lesson 4 bag, the Chancery Italic Hand alphabet, and some paper. So these special pens that I've given you, unfortunately, they do not work with the page protectors. So these are not dry erasable. So if you use this on the page protector, it really won't come off very well. So I don't recommend doing that. But you can just use this handout and lay some thinner paper over the top of it, and you'll be able to see well enough to trace. You can't really see on the camera, but if you're at home and you have good lighting, you'll be able to see how you can trace over the letters on the handout for practice. Now, just like in our workbook, this handout will give us numeral instructions on how to form the letters. So it will tell us to make a stroke this direction first and that second. Okay, so just like you learned the individual letters in your workbook by using the arrows and the numbers, you'll learn them on the Chancery Italic Hand alphabet that way as well. Now I'll show you a little bit of how to hold the pen and how to practice the letters. Okay, let's talk about the angle of our pen. Remember, we said we wanted to keep that at 45 degrees. So remember, straight up and down, that's 90 degrees, so half of that. Okay, and before I start with the letters, I just wanted to show you some of the individual kinds of strokes you'll be making. You'll be making some curves like this. Okay, you'll be making some up and down strokes like this. You may be making some side strokes like this as well. So if you want to start with strokes, you could look at your handout and see what kind of strokes you'll be making and practice just making the strokes. Or if you'd like to dive right on into making the letters, you can place some thin paper over the handout and trace them, or you can have a go at using the numbers and arrows to just try some on your own. Now I'm going to show you all the lowercase letters really quickly here. If it's not my neatest work, that's because I'm using one hand to hold the camera, so this is kind of a balancing act. So let's just go through and let's take a look at how some of the letters are formed. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V. Did you see that V? Okay. W, X, Y, and Z. Those are the lowercase letters. We could do a couple of uppercases. Here is A, B, C, D, E, and you can just have fun with this. You can try your own spin on the Chancery italic hand if you like. Sometimes I do the letters a little bit differently than they do them. Or you can look up other alphabets online and see what you think about them. So the letters in calligraphy, they don't exactly touch as much as they do in cursive, but they can overlap a little. That's not bad. And of course you'll want to learn how to write your name, right? So those are probably the letters you'll want to learn first when you're doing calligraphy. Another part of the fun of calligraphy is just adding your own flourishes and your own elements. Maybe I'll try to show you an example. We'll do my name here. Let's do K, E, L, L, Y. But let's make some extra elements, maybe some loops up here too. So just have fun with it, you know. You can be creative and find unusual and interesting ways to write your name or to write different letters and words. I hope you try calligraphy out and I hope you enjoy it. Well, that's calligraphy. Are you gonna try it? I hope you do. Before we say goodbye, I wanted to give you 2 more ways that you could practice. One is to write a letter to a friend or a relative. It's fun to get mail, I think, and if someone opens a beautiful letter that you've spent time carefully crafting your cursive writing on, I bet they will feel really special and really loved. Another thing that you could do is find a favorite inspirational quotation or maybe a funny saying and practice making it perfect. Perfectly spaced, perfectly slanted in cursive or in calligraphy, and then cut it out and paste it onto some beautiful colorful paper like a frame and hang it up on your bedroom wall so you'll always have that funny saying or that inspirational quote to look to. Well, that's it, guys. We're finished. We're done with our cursive crash course, and I had a lot of fun, and I know that you did too. When we do this class in person, we have a little graduation ceremony at the end, so I thought I would give you a couple of things in your bag to have your own celebration at home. You've got a kazoo, and you have a little bit of confetti, so if your grown-ups don't mind you making a small mess that is easily cleaned up with a vacuum cleaner, open up your confetti. and we could hum together in our kazoo the graduation song. Do you know that song? If you don't worry, just listen. But if you'd want to join in, or if you want to get your grown-up to play the song for you, let's do it now. Congratulations, graduates. You did it! Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.